everybody, and welcome back to another Ross Reviews, where today we're in a Holden and something we've never featured on the channel before, a Holden hot hatch. This is a 2014 Astra VXR, and this is a Holden. At least it's badged as one. And I gotta say, I love hot hatches, front wheel drive, 6-speed manual, and this thing packs quite a punch. We've got a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine up front that pushes 22 pounds of boost, and that's stock. This thing makes a staggering 206 kilowatts and just over 400 Newton meters of torque. And I gotta say, in a hot hatch, that's plenty. Now, when you think of Holden, of course, you're instantly going to think Commodore, V8, and rear-wheel drive. And this is about as far away as you possibly could get from that concept. But I'm going to say I love this concept as well. You know, I love my big sedans, rear-wheel drives, V8s, but I equally love these hot hatch platforms. I just do. You know, front-wheel drive, 6-speed manual, an overpowered 4-cylinder here, and these are just fun. They just are. You know, this particular one, we've got a sport mode, we've got a VXR mode. We've just chucked it in VXR mode right now. That totally puts everything in its sportiest settings, and this does have dynamic dampers in here, and just coming into this real tight hairpin here, just get it around. The steering is a little bit light. You get onto it, you hear that sucking from the engine, and it pulls for a long time too. You know, these gears, they definitely got a lot of life in them, and 276 horsepower, 206 kilowatts is no shy number in a car like this, and man, it hauls. And just going through the twisties again here, you know, this car really does love the back road because we do have a limited slip diff up front, and it puts the power down really well. You know, around these corners, it definitely does not have traction issues. Got these big 20-inch wheels here. Brembo brakes behind them, which is great. This steering is electronically assisted, so it isn't quite as heavy as I would like it, even in VXR mode. You know, you still can feel what those front wheels are doing through it, but it is definitely a little bit light for me. The gear shifter as well, look, it's quite easy to use. You know, even the clutch is very easy, but the throws are quite long, a little bit loose, but if you threw a short shifter in here, it really would do wonders. Now, just having to walk around on this Astra VXR, I actually really do like the lines on this car. It's a good looking hot hatch. You know, even up the front, it does look pretty mean, pretty aggressive. I like these induction vents here, but unfortunately, they are fake. But when you come around, you've got these beautiful 20-inch wheels. There are 245s all around. We do have good Brembo brakes underneath that, which is always nice to see. And just even down the side, you know, it's got a pretty sleek profile for, you know, a 2015 car. Definitely has some pretty good looks. At the rear, this thing is very aggressive with quite a wide stance. And, you know, you've got your Astra badge, Holden badge, and the VXR badge. This is got a bit of a diffuser and dual exhaust, so let's have a listen. Now, just stepping inside the VXR, you've got these really aggressive VXR branded bucket seats here, which they do look very, very nice. You jump in, you got your wheel, feels good in the hands. Gauge cluster, very busy in the center here. You know, you do have a digital display up here, which is nice though. 6-speed manual, always like to see, and these were only available in 6-speed manuals, so that is always a good thing. Do have an electronic handbrake, that's a negative. So getting in the back, you just simply pull that open, and it does give you a pretty good access way to get in here. Again, it is going to be a bit tight. You pull this car back, and legroom is kind of just. And again, I am just under 6 foot tall, and I could just barely fit in here. So if you are any bigger than me, you're definitely going to struggle, but that is pretty impressive that there's a decent amount of room back here, and it's not that bad. I could definitely stay back here for a medium trip, which is good. Now, one thing that is a little bit frustrating for me, this is a German-built car, essentially. This is an Opel with a Holden badge on it, and the way you can really tell straight away is just from the indicators, because they are on the left side. So I'm constantly going for the window wipers here at the moment, which is a little bit frustrating, but yeah, this is an Opel essentially. And funny enough, this was launched here in Australia in 2014, went through up until 2015, and this car, exactly the same, was sold here a couple of years before that as an Opel. And for whatever reason, they just brought the exact same car out as a Holden, and that is a little bit funny. Now, let's go ahead and talk about price here, because when these came out, I feel like they were priced pretty correctly. You know, you're going to pick one of these up back in 2014 and 2015. They're going to set you back around 40 grand, just under. And I think for a new car, pushing 206 kilowatts, 400 newton meters, looks the business. This was a pretty good value, I think. Now, on the used market, these are still a pretty good value, because even in COVID times like we are now, you go on car sales, Gumtree, find a really nice one of these, you're gonna be looking still around that 20 grand mark, and I think that is a pretty good value. You know, even if you really hunt for one, you can even get one with a little bit higher case for around that 16 grand mark, and this does feel like a lot of car for that money. This thing does move, you know. Unfortunately, it does a little bit too good of a job of reducing that torque steer, just for me personally, because I love a car that's front wheel drive, overpowered, and just pushes the steering wheel in all sorts of places. That's just fun to me. But yeah, you can still feel it kind of wanting to drift a little bit, but because it was electronically assisted steering, I think they have really hidden that torque steer effect that this car should really give you. But it is quick, no denying that. What's really funny to me, which I've been trying to find one for the channel, is the Astra VXR before this generation, this PJ. They were actually HSV branded. So they weren't just Holdens, they were actually proper HSVs. And they didn't bring all that many of them here. And I, for one, think that is just absolutely so cool that they're HSV branded. I've been trying to find one for the channel. If any of you guys got one, you want to come on, send me a message. We need to make that happen. And even this particular one, you know, I could have definitely seen if they just did those minor things I'm talking about, tune, cold air intake, you know, even just an exhaust and a short shifter, having the HSV brand on this would have definitely been something I think I could have respected for sure. Now, 0 to 100, again, this is a front wheel drive car, it is a manual, so really does kind of, it's all driver here, but this was claimed at about 6 seconds flat, which I think sounds roughly about right for this car. So if we can get this thing into the 6 second range, I think we'll be doing pretty well. Now, there isn't any launch control in this particular car, unfortunately, so we've just got it in VXR mode. I'm going to reset the draggy here. and put it in first. Build up the revs a little bit. Feels better. And it gets to 100 just at the top of second, which that is pretty impressive. And that launch felt pretty strong. I'm not sure if we were able to get a better time than that, but let's have a look at what that time was. 0 to 100 there was in 6.9 seconds, guys. And look, we are on a back road. We've got 2 people in the car. And, you know, at the end of the day, in the 6-second range, if you get a perfect launch, I think you could get pretty damn close to that 6 flat. Now, at the end of the day, this Holden VXR is exactly what's advertised. You know, this hot hatch really puts the power down with that 2-liter turbo, you know, the 6-speed manual, the LSD up front. This thing is a rocket on the backcountry roads, like we've just proven, and it's a lot of fun to drive. And the fact that all you really need to do to make this a proper good B-road killer is give it a short shifter and give it a good exhaust. That's all this thing needs, and it is basically perfect for just a fun driver's car. And the fact you can pick these up for sub 20 grand, this thing is really slept on, and I like it a lot. Hope you guys did enjoy this video on this VXR. If so, make sure you guys hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you're new here, and we'll see you on that next video.